What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about NIO, I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with macro data, Friday evening, we did have some manufacturing, came in a little bit lower than the forecast, as well as below 50. So that does signal that there is a little bit more contraction occurring. One thing that was stated 3 weeks ago was that there might be some form of stimulus coming out. So that obviously the market might piece this negative data with that and potentially move things a little bit higher. As far as later in the week, we do have some manufacturing data this evening. And then on Tuesday, just rating dog services and composite. So not really that much in data. So we'll kind of have to wait and see. At the time of doing this video, crypto is really tanking. And so a lot of people are correlating this with just generally people's appetite for risk. There is that government shutdown that did start, and from what estimates are that it might end potentially Tuesday, but again, the market's going to be really kind of digesting that, and as per usual, that shouldn't really affect NIO, but it does. One thing that did come out from NIO though was this right here. So NIO provides January 2026 delivery update. 27,182 vehicles were delivered in January. That is an increase of 96.1% year over year. I did go over that 1 million deliveries, so we already kind of knew that. I think it was a couple weeks back. But the breakdown is, so the deliveries consisted of 20,894, and that's from NIO. 3481 from 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗛, and then 2807 for Firefly. So when it comes down to my channel, I always like to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So generally, January is a little bit more of a seasonal low. And so that's kind of happens every single year, not just with NIO, but across the board. So this is where the bears could kind of pounce because the numbers did go a little bit lower from December to January, but then again, seasonally, that's kind of what happens. One thing that is kind of a little bit low as well was 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗛 and Firefly. So in general, I think that they at least are moving in the right direction. This could be seen as somewhat neutral in nature, but still I think overall very positive stuff. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Do you think I'm incorrect in kind of being on the neutral standpoint, or do you think it's overwhelmingly bullish? Do you think that there's some negative hints in there? You have to keep in mind, right? The reason why I'm kind of neutral is I know bears and shorts, they pounce over any little thing that they can get. And so like I mentioned, 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗛 and Firefly kind of on the low end in reality, and comparing it month over month, which I know you generally shouldn't do, is a little bit lower. So I think bears could definitely pounce over that. Aside from that though, the only other thing that kind of came out was this right here. So NIO Firefly begins deliveries of right-hand drive cars in Singapore. So overall, I think that's good, although I did have to double check. Oddly enough, I don't know if I was having deja vu or something, but I felt like this news did come out a couple weeks back as well. Couldn't find anything. So this, I think, is in general good. I think UK news should be coming right around the corner, so that could be a pretty good catalyst. Anything, I think, in Europe and expansion-wise is going to be a pretty good catalyst. So Firefly should continue its good momentum for that. Looking at shorts, so 7.89% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 160 million shares overall being shorted. So anticipate shorts to be fairly active because of just the macro conditions, as well as possibly this. Again, I could be incorrect in assuming that shorts will take this as a negative, but shorts, oddly enough, have been returning a significant amount over the last several months. So I think it is kind of what they've been doing. They've been freeing up room to eventually double down on something. And just given the circumstances of what's happening in the broader market, I think this could be their opportunity, unfortunately. But cost to borrow average is 0.74. Still see some signs of naked shorting. So there's more shares being shorted than on loan. That shouldn't happen. But aside from that, from a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be above roughly 5 to 550. And what NIO has gone through over the last several trading days has been extremely frustrating and annoying, because NIO clearly does want to move higher, right? It's tested that $5 range twice, and it just keeps getting knocked down. So from the bull standpoint, it looks like $5 is still kind of on the table, which is a good thing. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 5. So clearly we are at a key pivot. Right now, with it at 470, where it closed on Friday, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So 455 is going to be a must hold level, because if that does fail to hold, then you have 415 as the next strong support. Flip side, 480 followed by 521 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points. I'm looking at the 1-day chart, so these are very strong support and resistance points. And I think in general as well, that $5 range is also a big deal for options. So going back over here for a second, looking at the open interest, you did have 31,000 at the $5 strike price. This is why you did see shorts really double down on Friday as well as Thursday at strategic levels. So going back over here for a second, just to put that in perspective, they hit it hard. They did not want it to go up at all. So they hit it hard, increased 3.7 million shares all at once, just to really break NIO. Because as what we've seen in the past, they didn't want that 31,000 to be considered in the money. Looking forward into this upcoming week, we have 14,000 at the 5, 9,000 at the 550, 6,000 at the 6. So in general, if NIO somehow does get close to the 5, anticipate shorts to also get fairly active. Aside from all of that fun stuff on the actual chart itself, this is where over the last 2 days it did bounce off of that 50-day moving average. So as well, that's going to be a very big deal, and conveniently that is sitting at $5 on the mark. So historically, that's a kind of a big transition pivot for NIO. So every time it's gone above that 50-day moving average for 2 consecutive days, usually results in at least a 30% push higher. Most recently back in July had a little bit larger of a thing, but I think there was a lot of big news coming out, a lot of big launches, milestones, and the market generally does like all of that. So as far as going into this upcoming week, for the beginning part, it really needs to hold that 10-day moving average, and that's sitting at 466. If that fails to hold, then we could be seeing a retest of that 447 and or potentially even kind of the high 3s. That's what the LA Wave Technicals is kind of projecting right now. But if things again start to really move higher, shorts don't double down, just watch for that 50 followed by that 200-day moving average. So I think all in all, NIO, it's going to be a volatile week. As I've mentioned time and time again, best thing to do is just dollar cost average. But I do feel that NIO will move higher this upcoming week. It just needs to get above that 50-day moving average. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you generally doing? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.